Hello and welcome to the Trauma Treatment Collective vlog. I am so excited that you are here today. I am talking about something that I love to talk about, which is safely holding space. I think this is a really important topic when you're thinking about doing trauma treatment that's effective, and not only effective for the client, but also effective for you as the provider, and it feels safe for you as the provider. I think it's really important that we are taking care of ourselves as much as we are taking care of our clients. And so let's get started. So when you're thinking about safely holding space for your clients, I want to just help you differentiate between something that's very, how would I say, very subtle, but it makes all the world of difference. So I want you to think about holding space for your clients and not holding their emotion. So I am not holding space within myself for my clients. I'm holding space outside of myself. So there is a clear differentiation between me and the work that we're doing. And I think this is really important to think about when you're thinking about safely holding space for your clients and kind of where you are in the process. Because if you are holding clients' feelings and emotions within yourself and kind of seeing yourself as the vessel to kind of hold that space, then it can sometimes be very overwhelming for you. It can be activating for you. It can be triggering for you. It is too much. We are not designed to hold other people's emotions. We are designed to hold space for other people's emotions, but not actually carry those emotions. And so sometimes you'll hear that with your clients where they're saying, well, I am just affected as much as that person is. Like, I feel like it's happening to me. We don't want that as a provider. We want to be able to hold space for them, but not hold their emotions. So I think that's a really important thing to even just get started with and kind of think about. It's like, okay, I want to hold space and not hold their emotions. So let's talk a little bit about things you can think about when you're thinking about safely holding space. We cannot let it unfold. Like, you can't be allowing this process to unfold. Like, so, okay, I'm going to just go in there and, see what happens and just be with my client. I think you really have to be intentional about your boundaries and where you are with your client and making sure that you are keeping yourself in a safe position to be effective for your client, as well as to be able to really be, safe for yourself. So you cannot let it be, this unintentional thing that you're just kind of willy-nilly kind of allowing it to happen. So really being intentional and setting intention about, okay, I want to make sure that I am doing this in the safest way possible for myself and for my client. So a couple of things you can do to kind of make it safe. You want to learn to track yourself. And when I talk about tracking yourself, that's really kind of checking in with yourself and noticing what's happening internally with you. I like to call it our internal landscape. So what's happening for me? Do I feel tension? Do I feel tingly? Do I feel, do I feel tight? Do I feel heavy? Like, what is going on for me? What is my internal landscape telling me about where I am in this process? So learning to track yourself. I think sometimes we are really good with tracking our clients. So we're watching what's happening for them. We're listening to what's happening for them. And we're also sometimes feeling what's happening for them, but we are not tracking for ourselves. And so I think it's really important that we are checking in with ourselves as much as we check in with our clients. The second thing I want you to do is know how you regulate. So when you're with a client, if you find that maybe you have found yourself kind of overly extending yourself, or you're carrying some of their stuff, how do you get out of that? How do you backpedal out of that? The number one thing you can do is to regulate, to help yourself calm and settle and kind of get to that calm, cool, and connected place within your own nervous system. So thinking about, how do I regulate? For me, it is simple as two things that I do. I'll share with you what I do. Maybe it'll be helpful for you. But I kind of feel my feet on the floor, feel my seat in the chair, and I really kind of feel my back against the chair. So it's kind of this grounding process that I do. That's one thing I do. So just by me taking time to really notice those things helps me to kind of settle back into myself. The second thing that I do is I may look out the window. So I may notice, just the sunshine or colors outside of the window. I don't have any trees or nature outside of my window. It's actually a parking lot, which is not so pleasant. But I may notice the colors of the different cars, or how the sun is kind of landing on the different cars, or I may notice how gray it is in the sky. But I just kind of take a minute to kind of check out and check back in. And by doing that quick little check out and check back in, it allows my system to settle. I'm not just focus, pushing to stay here, when maybe my system needs a little bit of a rest, and then I can come back in and I can be in a different place versus if I'm just pushing. So those are two things that I do to regulate. You have to know what you do to regulate. Some people may just like to kind of feel, tense their arms or tense their legs and kind of let that relax. Or they may like different scents, so just having a different scent on you. Some people have roller balls and those kinds of things that they use to really be able to connect with different scents. But just really finding what helps you to regulate in session that feels like it's not this big old thing that you got to go and stop session to do, but it's something you can do in session that your client might notice or they may not notice. I think it's sometimes can be really helpful for my clients to see me regulate, or for me to bring attention to me regulating, because it really helps them to understand that I too am working on this as much as they are. And sometimes I don't want to interrupt the process, so I'll do things that are not as noticeable, or I won't draw attention to it, and I'll help them to kind of, I'll help myself to regulate without disrupting their process. Then the third thing is becoming familiar with what it feels like to be dysregulated, or to be over in someone's space, or to be carrying their emotion within yourself. So there's this term in somatic experiencing that I've learned that I think is really helpful, and it's called, you want to join with your clients versus merging with your clients. Merging with your clients looks like this, and joining with your clients looks like this. And so you really want to learn that, okay, I'm not merging with them, I'm not becoming interlocked, interwoven with their experience, but I am kind of coming up alongside them and supporting them and being with them in the process, to the point that I know where I began and I know where they began, and I'm not overly in their process. And so you want to know what it feels like when you merge with a client versus when you join. So that's something, if you don't know, you can be curious about what that feels like throughout this next week as you're doing your work. Okay, when I am joined and I think I'm joined, it feels like this. And when I think I went too far, it feels like this. For me, I know I've went too far when I start setting up and leaning towards the client. That's a clear sign in my nervous system that I am working too hard and I am pushing too hard, and I have now taken on this work as my own versus I'm kind of coming along this client and supporting them. So I will just position myself and work on my posture of setting back, being in my own space and not getting over in their space. So that's one way that I know when I know that I have gotten too far. Another thing I'll say is sometimes I'll have clients who kind of sit on the edge of their chair, and I have to kind of step back. And I notice that if I kind of meet them, I'm getting too far. It's just uncomfortable for my system. And so if they're setting up, I'll set back just to make sure that I maintain that distance and that disconnection from them, so that I can join with them versus merge with them. So those are some things that you might want to think about when you're talking about safely holding space for your clients and being able to support them in a way that's safe for you and effective for them. Hopefully this is helpful. If you've enjoyed it, make sure that you share it with your colleagues and your friends who are doing trauma work. Feel free to share this, take a screenshot of the video and share it on Instagram or Facebook in your stories. Tag me in it. I would love to be able to support as many trauma treatment professionals as I can, so that we are doing the work effectively and safely, and we can do it as long as we want to. So take care, have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.